Thank you for coming. Whew, man, it sounds like this. I wish I'd paid more attention in basic public speaking. Like she said, my name is Jason Hicks, and I work at Bellefonte Hospital in the technology department. I'm going to talk to you about Leap Motion. I'm also going to show you a few short videos because, you know, like a lot of other technology, it's best just to see it in action. So first, I'd like to start out with a brief overview of my experience in healthcare IT. Right after high school, I skipped a year, didn't go to college right away. I started my own business detailing cars, and then that didn't really work out. You know, got a couple other here and there jobs, and then decided to go back to school. While I was there, I got pretty close with a few of my teachers and started working for one of them. And one of them basically said, you know, you're not really learning a whole lot here. It's not your time. You need to get out and you need to get this job at the hospital. So I took his advice, dropped out, went to, started working at the hospital. And funny enough, about not even a year later, ended up getting him a job at the hospital. So we're still together. I started out at Our Lady of Bellefonte Hospital close to almost 10 years ago now, and started out as a network analyst. Then, like she said, I moved to a telecommunications analyst, which basically means that I did the same type of work, just added some more responsibilities. Still took care of the wired and wireless network, but started working on the telephone side as well. And then just recently in the past year, got to the position of lead technical analyst. And if you guessed it, yeah, it's basically the same thing I was doing with even more work. So more responsibilities, all fun stuff. Within that 10 years, almost 10 years that we've been working there, our technology in healthcare has grown dramatically, exponentially. When I first started, we had a layer 2 network that had no redundancy whatsoever, not more than a handful of switches throughout the entire hospital, and one core switch. And my first day that I walked in, the senior network analyst at the time came to me and took me back into the data center, and he said, okay, you see this King James Bible that's sitting on top of our core switch? Nobody touches it. Don't ever touch anything because we don't know what's going to happen. The hospital is on an old burial ground, and it could mess everything up. So we never did touch it. It actually stayed there until we decommissioned that core switch and put all new equipment in. One of the first projects that I started on that we implemented was a voice grade wireless infrastructure that basically it spanned across our entire campus at the hospital and all of our outreach facilities. That, in turn, led us to a voice grade, or a Vocera hands-free communication. It's a nurse call badge system, a little white badge there. It hangs on your shirt, and you're able to hit a button and make a call. Or somebody calls you, you can just hit a button and answer it and talk just like you would, hands-free. Then came the 8-ton elephant, Epic's electronic medical record. Now, if any of you have been into a hospital recently, you've probably seen some sort of process in this electronic medical record. It's one system that does your entire medical record. So you can go to any facility and check in. They have all your information there, and you're able to get seen quicker and be able to get out the door quicker. That project lasted over a year, and it quadrupled our IT infrastructure. Normally the staff would have a PC in their office, and that was pretty much it. No patient rooms, no nothing. Had any computers, printers, or anything. So with Epic, that all changed. Instead of doing everything by paper, you went back and you had to type everything out on the computer inside the room. So we have a workstation on a wheel. We call it a WOW, and it has a barcode scanner on it. It has an e-signature pad so the patient can sign release forms and that sort of thing. It has a keyboard, mouse, and some of them we have med-grade carts, and they have a few more boxes down below, and they store medications, things like that in there. We also have wall-mounted workstations. I don't have a picture of that, but it's a wall mount with a computer inside of it, and you just go up to it, type in a few passcode, and it brings down your keyboard, mouse, and you can sit there and work on, right in the middle of the hallway. On top of that, we also have a downtime computer in every department in case the system becomes unavailable. Because while nobody likes a downtime, especially healthcare, sometimes they happen. Sometimes they're planned, sometimes they're not, but eventually they will happen, and you have to be prepared. And during all these projects, we're also slowly replacing our Nortel PBX telephone system. These were these old yellow, mangy looking phones that were, terrible to use, and they were dirty. They were 15 years old. So we were replacing them with a new digital Cisco voice over IP solution. And when I first started working at the hospital, they had, I think, one floor of the Bellefonte Center area that had these new Cisco phones. In 2013, we finally finished that project, and now campus-wide, we're a complete digital VoIP system. So you might start to see a little bit of a pattern here. Hospitals, healthcare, the technology there, it's growing. It's going more electronic, it's going more hands-free, it's going more wireless. So, while working in healthcare, I noticed it's a little bit different than your average IT department. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm a network guy, so if my network goes down, I want to know about it, I want to be there, I want to be in the fight, I want to make sure that it gets back up and running correctly. So you have that, but then a lot of our customers are nurses. So they aren't always working on a spreadsheet, they're not always taking patient payments, they're taking care of people. They're taking care of your brother, your dad, your aunt, your grandmother. And if the computer doesn't work, that's a tool that she uses to do her job more efficiently. That's what she uses to work with. So when it breaks, it's not, they get mad, trust me, but what really happens is the patient suffers for it. So really we have to figure out how to make technology be more in the background, more seamless, and enable the front line of support, the nurses, the doctors, to be able to do their job quicker, more efficiently, and with less aggravation. Because really, in the end, it's the patient that suffers. Now, when you look at that in perspective, you start to think, what can I do as being in IT to make that process better? Is there anything that I can do? Clean up some cables around the WOW, clean up their desktop, make sure everything's nice and neat, wipe their screen down. In a hospital, things get messy, so it's a constant struggle to keep things clean. So in healthcare IT, we're constantly trying to figure out what we can do for the nurses and the doctors to make their lives easier. Now, I'm going to switch gears, and I'm going to show you a quick video of Leap Motion and what it can do. Now, this is an old video. This was from, I think 2013 is when it finally actually released. So you can actually buy this device now. It's $80 or so from Leap Motion directly, or I think you can even get it cheaper on Amazon, I found out. But it's available. You can go ahead and buy it. And that showed you a brief glimpse of what the device is capable of. Map exploration, gaming, web-based interaction. You saw them scrolling through web pages with their finger. So how does it do all that? Well, Leap Motion is a peripheral device, just like a USB device, a mouse, a keyboard, that you can attach to any computer with a USB cable. That's all it takes to connect. And the software, I mean, it's like 3 megabits. I mean, it's a small install file. So there's not a whole lot running there in the background, but what it's capable of is so much more. Basically what it does is it creates a 2 feet by 2 feet 3D environment that enables you to interact with your computer. And you can see it's sort of like 2 upside down pyramids is what it does. And that's what creates this environment right in front of your computer. You can tap the space just like you do your smartphone or your touchscreen laptop. And in this space, it communicates just like your mouse. So without getting too technical, let's take a quick look at what it's made up of. You can see the 2 cameras there and the 3 infrared ones in left, middle, right side, and they track the infrared light. The software running on the computer, it applies advanced algorithms to all that raw sensor data that these cameras are picking up on and that infrared light is adjusting for. Once it does that, it compensates and it factors out any background imaging, any, as you can see in the pictures, these hands, you can see a little bit of flicker in the background. So it takes all that out and it just takes your hand gestures. It's hand gesture based. And what you see is a 3D representation of what it sees. So I'm a big movie buff, love movies. And naturally, when I first saw this type of software, my mind started racing with, all these futuristic movies and how they interact with their computers and how you really don't even see the computer anymore. It's all just screens and wave of hand and, where did the computer go? We've seen a few things from Back to the Future that have come to fruition, like when Marty McFly gets fired over a video chat. At the time, nobody heard about it. Now, every smartphone, every laptop, every desktop, they have cameras, microphones. You can Skype with anybody with any personal device nowadays. So, why not some more recent movies? You might remember this scene from Minority Report with Tom Cruise. Pay attention to how they interact with the computer.
This is case number 1109. Time of occurrence Friday, 15:06 hours.
Start location, run a contact search for future victim Leo Crow. The witness is ready to preview and validate number 1109.
Ready when you are, John.
Standing by.
Oh, I love this part. I've got no address, last known or otherwise. No tax returns for the last 5 years.
Check NCIC, maybe he's got a record. It looks like federal housing, concrete and glass egg crate. It's unclear.
I got 6 licenses. Where do you want them?
Over here, please.
Very slow.
No, blind iron without them.
Now, I know it's no Mission Impossible, but it is still pretty neat. And something a little bit more exciting, what about this scene from Iron Man?
Project file. Index is marked 2.
So I stole this on the stock industry several days back.
I'm under trust right now.
Notice no keyboard, no mouse.
Keep everything on my private server.
Working on a secret project about myself.
Don't let this find out in the wrong hands. Maybe mine can actually do some good.
Now, with the holograms and everything, I think that Leap Motion's still a little bit of ways away from being Tony Stark, but it's pretty close. And I like what he said there. Maybe in my hands, it can actually do some good. So there's a lot of people that are really trying to do some good with this Leap Motion software. Let me switch back to IT and healthcare. One big thing that healthcare really worries about are infections. They're all over the place. Every hospital worries about them, and we're always trying to prevent them. We take exhaustive precautions to prevent infections. And as I said earlier, we have a computer in every room. Before and after a patient is admitted or discharged, that room has to be completely cleaned, disinfected, and that means the computer too. That means you have to wipe down the screen, you have to wipe down anything that anybody has touched. Even us as IT, when we go in to work on a computer, we have to wash hands. We have sanitation bottles outside of every patient room. We have to wear gloves whenever we're working on the equipment if the room's already been disinfected. A lot of the time, sometimes if the patient is sick enough, we have to have the nurse bring the computer out so we can work on it. Wipe it down, send it back into the room. So then we have our surgery rooms, and there's computers in there too. That's what the doctors, the nurses, the surgeons use to do these procedures. They look at radiology images while they're doing the procedure. And if you could picture it in your mind, they're doing the procedure, and then they have to stop and go over to a computer and look at this radiology image and interact with the computer. At that point, they're contaminated, so they have to scrub back in. That's time, that's aggravation, and what happens when that time puts the patient's life at stake? There's got to be a better way. And so if you didn't already guess, I'm a pretty big geek, and I work in healthcare. So I started thinking about how this technology could be used in that environment. I am that geeky. I did that in my spare time. I started following Leap Motion on Twitter, and soon after it was released, I started seeing articles about how people were actually starting to already develop these apps that could benefit the healthcare industry. Let me show you this video, how it could help physical therapy patients. Just like tablets have made learning fun for our youth, this technology can make rehabilitation more of a game and can also be done in the privacy of your own home. Not having to drive back into the physical therapy, not having to have somebody else pick you up, take you there, because a lot of the time you don't want to drive, you can't drive. You're trying to rehabilitate. So let's take a look. hope you'll forgive me, I'm going to go straight into another video where the dentistry field is developing apps for this device that can help them perform oral surgeries. Notice no physical interaction with the computer of any kind. Now imagine trying to view these images with you trying to tell somebody where to point, where to click, where to move. It'd be pretty aggravating. And if you remember the very first video I showed you, the ad for Leap Motion, the first-person shooter game, they were using those same hand-based gestures to fire the weapon. They were using the circle for reloading the weapon. Different gestures, different outcomes, or same gestures, but totally different outcomes. Totally different uses. The last healthcare video that I'd like to show really hits home for me working in a hospital. It shows you how people are already starting, now not OLBH, we don't have this software yet, but other hospitals are already starting to use this device inside of their operating rooms, which is a pretty big deal. Check this out.
As a cardiac surgeon, sometimes I have to review images during surgical procedures. Normally, I would have to unscrub, take a look at the images, and scrub up again, or alternatively, ask somebody else to take a look at the pictures for me.
TEDCAD technology allows me to review the images by myself, doing a zoom or a measurement with a high precision. With the Leap Motion Sensor 1, can do this with small and simple movement of my hands, saving time and increasing the patient safety.
TEDCAD and Leap Motion are taking us one step further towards a natural mechanism of interaction for surgeons in the operating room.
I want to know where is the tumor and how big it is. For that, we have the Leap Motion. Without washing my hands and without to get out my gloves.
The new TEDCAD Leap, I'm able purely to motion with my finger to be able to direct the measurements on the screen.
La tecnología gestual empleada sobre un modelo específico del paciente que nos da la imagen radiológica nos está permitiendo dentro del mundo quirúrgico avances muy importantes y optimización y garantías de resultados.
So, natural movements during live surgeries, transitioning the way healthcare can interact with their computers and help doctors do their procedures more easily. As you can see, this technology has massive potential in healthcare and in other areas, lowering patient costs by doing your therapy at home while also making it fun, minimizing time and infection risks by giving the surgeon full control over a computer without having to touch anything. Going forward, we could even start using it in our own hospitals with our e-signature pads. This idea came to me. I was just thinking, you know, when you're at finish line, I was at finish line the other day, and I was checking out, and they had their iPhone, and they swapped my card with their iPhone now, and then they handed it to me and said, go ahead and sign your signature. So I take my finger, sign my signature. Now in the hospital, we have these signature pads with a little pin attached, and they have to hand the patient the signature pad, the patient has to sign. All that's physical touch. All that has to be cleaned and disinfected. But what if the Leap Motion controller sat on top of the WOW, the workstation on wheels, and the patient just simply signed their name right in the air? So, massive potential. Now, to this point, I've pretty much just focused on healthcare, dentistry, physical therapy, things that I'm more involved in. But to wrap things up and bring it full circle, I'd like to show you a few other areas of innovation where Leap Motion is also opening up possibilities. Oh, went back. Maybe it's not playing that one. Oh well. So basically what this video is going to show, did anybody ever have one of those old pianos, the electronic pianos that had one of those beatbox synthesizer buttons on it? You know what I'm talking about? You hit the button and then it was boom, boom, boom. It did it all by itself. My sister had one, and we pretty much wore that button out. I mean, that was like all day, every day. We were playing with that button. And what this video showed was a virtual environment. Leap Motion can also attach to a screen that you sort of like Google Glass or, you know, a virtual reality mask, and it just attaches on. And like I said, Leap Motion is just a hand recognition software. So when you put it on your face and you look, you can interact with your virtual environment. So what this is doing is taking music creation to a whole new level. It has pyramids, circles, squares on the screen, all making a different sound, all linking together, and you're just touching your space and you're creating your music. Now you might look a little funny doing it to somebody else watching you, but it is pretty neat. And just like the tablet has in the past, it's transformed the way we interact with education. We have tablets, iPads, smart devices in a lot of classrooms now. Elementary schools all the way up to college, and that's how you interact with your technology. That's how you learn. So I think that Leap Motion could have pretty much the same potential. With Google Earth's app, you can explore the entire globe in new ways. I was going to do a video on this with me actually flying around like Superman, but I thought that would probably get a little crazy. So if you want to see it, after the show, you know, we can play around with it and you can actually see how you move with Google Earth to explore the globe. With complex anatomy apps, you can explore the human body in a three-dimensional environment. Now these are just two, one with the human anatomy with skulls. They have many more apps being developed. This one, you can dissect a frog without that nasty formaldehyde smell. I hated that. So that's one in my books. I wish they had that when I was in school. And every day new apps are being developed. All kinds of developers. Anybody who buys one can subscribe to their developer community. If they have an idea, they can start working on it and create new apps, new ways to interact with your computer. So today, wrap things up, I've just gone over a few things that I've discovered Leap Motion is capable of. It's really neat, it's really innovative, it's a great technology, and I think it's worth taking a look at. So if you ever have any spare time and you're interested enough, just hop on. You can find all kinds of videos on the web. You can, like I said, buy one. They're relatively cheap, and have fun with it. See what you can do with it.